This is why we have councilmen. Thank you.
Okay. Remind Simmons after Randall Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for taking your time tonight, because there's been so many people, but it's really been a great thing to see this wonderful turnout of people and all applying for one appointment. I'm just really amazed, and that's actually exactly why I'm here, is because we all care about what happens to our city, and I think that's really important. And to see so many people wanting to take on this appointment is just amazing. I have a passion to help the community to feel pride in their city. I love the quality of life that we have here, and I want to keep that feeling going. I'm interested in all issues that impact our city. I have original and inventive ideas that I'm confident would not only preserve but enhance the beauty, the warmth, and the integrity that we have in our community. And I'm here to appeal for that opportunity. I love to serve, and I have time needed to work with the council. I'm an empty nester, so I don't have day-to-day commitments with children, and I'm available at a moment's notice. The activities and vocations that I engage in now put me in contact with dozens of people in any given week that are here in Bountiful. We talk about and we discuss issues that are in the community. We have a great, great community, but it's not perfect. It is clear and provable that there is a growing number of long-term residents who feel a disconnect between city government and themselves. They feel their voices are not heard and that they no longer matter. And this shouldn't be the case. All members of the community should feel like they have a voice. I'm a people person. I'm a listener, a unifier, and very much want the opportunity to use my skills and abilities to help bring the people together to create alliances, encourage and cultivate the culture that we have with communication. I'm accountable, responsible, and honest. I'm fair and reasonable, and I'm an organizer. I've owned a few very successful businesses in the past, and I know how to manage a project and to run a business. I believe in accountability and budgeting, and I understand the importance of maintaining that budget. I love higher taxes. Not really. But I do understand that quality comes with a cost. I like having smooth streets, my trash picked up. I love the police and the fire departments, beautiful parks, and lots of wholesome family activities for everyone to enjoy. In my responsibilities, I have always been one to think outside the box. I bring creative ideas to the table to maximize efficiency, and aptitude is something that I will bring to the government. Thank you.
Shirley.
Thank you, Shirley. Randall Edwards is next, and after Randall is Richard Strong.
Well, being in the middle is sort of like being the guy who sings third on The Voice. Hope I can sing enough that it makes an impression. I've lived in Bountiful since 1991, but it was only last year that I moved my law office from the Kearns building in downtown Salt Lake City to Bountiful. I just bought a building on 2nd North and 1st West. It's got a huge wall in front. It used to be an architectural studio. My biggest concern when I moved here was that I wasn't going to be able to attract my Salt Lake City clients and my clients from all over, but that's not been a problem. In fact, they love coming to Bountiful. And I've also gotten some Bountiful clients as well. And in fact, I was in front of the council not long ago getting agricultural protection for the Bangor farm. We actually saved that from also being, well, part of his farm in Farmington. What I bring to the table is 35 years of working in city governments. My first job out of law school was clerking for the Nevada Supreme Court. My first job after that, I was outside counsel for the city of Reno, and then I've worked twice for the city of Reno, the last time as the chief deputy city attorney, where I did pretty much everything, all the litigation. I was the pretty much the labor relations director. I was also 6 years with the city attorney's office in Salt Lake City. I have attended thousands of hours of city council meetings. I have authored hundreds of pages of staff reports and legal briefs. I have read hundreds of thousands of pages of staff reports and maps and planning commission minutes, and attended every meeting that you can possibly think of. So in this 1 year appointment, you're not going to have to train me as to how to be on the city council. I get how it works. I know what a city council does. I know what they should do. I know what they shouldn't do. I understand what it is that the limitations are, and I think that I would be able to be not just competent, but I think that my experience would be able to add to the council. I understand land use planning. I've done budgets, and I believe that I would be able to add to the city council, and I thank you for your consideration. Unless anybody's got any questions, I'll sit down and let the next person talk.
Thank you, Randall.
Thank you, Randall. Next is Richard Strong, and after Richard is Jim Clark.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, I appreciate the opportunity to address you at this time. I won't go through all the details of my experience at the national level or up at the state capitol or anything. You have that already in your hands. But I would like to focus on Bountiful City per se. And I would begin with the application form that you gave me to fill out and mention specifically item number 5, which is, what's your fiscal philosophy? I'm conservative both in the expenditure of my own money as well as that of other people's money. I adhere to the principle of distinguishing between needs and wants. I also believe that if the job expenditure is to be done, then do it right instead of just getting by. As far as relevant work experience, I've been a city councilman. I served on the North Salt Lake City Council for 2 terms. Cut short because we needed to move into Bountiful, and I wanted to move into Bountiful anyhow, so that worked out well. But while I was in the capacity as a city councilman, I refer you to my 3rd on sharing service. I'll highlight Greenbelt activity on Highway 89, the area in question between what is now where the U.S. Postal Service building is and Rand's Auto Sales was nothing but a truck stop which was dumped city, and the city just kept saying, we can't do anything about that. It's a big mess. It always has been, always will be. Well, to make a long story short, I investigated what was going on. It was owned by the state. I proceeded to get with the Utah Department of Transportation, the Division of Rights of Way, and long story short, as I say, for $1, we got a 99-year lease on that property, and we assumed the responsibility of taking care of that and hiring an architectural planner there, designed all the work, got all of the materials, trees, bushes, etc., either at cost or donated to make that what is now a greenbelt, which has been that way for over 3 decades. At a cost of $1. And one of the things that I specified was that this is going to be a maintenance one that we can handle, so all the design was so we didn't have the grass being sheared and so on as it was mowed. I'm not going to make any further comment at this time about anything in North Salt Lake, but I want you to know that I can think outside the box, and I appreciate the fact that this council does that too, as evidenced by this nuclear power plant that's being worked on up in Idaho Falls. I commend you for that. That's thinking outside the box, and that's making it good. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Richard. Jim Clark is next, and Jon Bouwhuis is after Jim.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to you tonight. I I'm a lifelong resident of Bountiful, and I've been an observer of national and local politics. And I remember somebody once saying that all politics are local. And it doesn't really get any more local than the city council or maybe the school board. I believe that Bountiful City has always been well run. I believe we've been fortunate to have good leadership, and I appreciate those who have come before who have made this such a great place to live. My motivation in putting my name forward is service. I don't have any specific agenda, but I'm interested in many things, and I think that with my experience in business and on appointed boards, that would be a plus. I'm really happy for those who have spoken to tonight. I think that I applaud that. I think the more people that get involved, the better it is. I remember years ago in Bountiful politics when some ran unopposed, and I think I hope those days are over. I think we need more public participation. That leads to more public knowledge about what's going on. Again, I appreciate the opportunity, and I wish you good luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Next up is Jon Bouwhuis, and after Jon is Seth Allen.
Mayor, council members, I appreciate this opportunity. The first question on the application asked why I wanted to fill this position. It's because I love Bountiful. My roots run deep here. In 1861, my great-great-grandparents, James Page and Louisa Graves, brought their 9 children here to live. Their oldest daughter married William Waddups, also a young man who had come in advance of his family to help to bring his family, which he ultimately did. The names of Porter and Page are well known in Bountiful. There are streets named after them. I grew up actually in Logan, went to Logan, attended Utah State University on an Air Force scholarship, graduated as a distinguished graduate, was commissioned as second lieutenant in the regular Air Force, and immediately went on active duty. 18 months later, I was a B-52 pilot flying combat in Vietnam. Over 2 tours, I logged 587 hours of combat. It's an experience that grounds you. You become confident in what you're doing and being able to believe in yourself. That assisted me in my career. As a senior captain, I was selected to fill a position as division chief in the wing headquarters, normally filled by a lieutenant colonel. In that position, I was required to negotiate with British and Norwegian air forces for the bed down of U.S. forces on their bases during time of war. I accomplished that mission, wrote the War Readiness Top Secret Plan that is still in effect today. My Air Force career took me to several U.S. states, 5 foreign countries, and 1 U.S. territory. My last assignment was chief of the Performance Risk Assessment Group at Hill Air Force Base. In that capacity, I was required to negotiate and brief major contractors on the reasons that they were or were not getting contracts. When I retired, I was sought out and recruited as a consultant on several of these major contractors. Since Bountiful, for the past 10 years, I've served on the board for the Bountiful Davis Arts Center. 3 of those years I served as vice chair or chair, worked with several city council members, Beth, John Pitt, and others who also served on that board. I was involved in the purchase of the building that we're now housed in, the reconstruction of that building, many of the fundraising events that took place. I'd really like to serve on the council as a payment of my debt to those who came before me and to be able to give my support. I'm fully retired, got plenty of time, would love to serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jon.
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to thank Jon for his service.
Amen.
And I think we need to give him a round of applause. Jon, Would you, one more question, would you come up to the mic again, please? And I want to ask you a question. As a retired Air Force member, would you support a Veterans Park in Bountiful?
You bet.
And why?
Because I think a lot of the veterans are not recognized. When I returned from Vietnam, it was a very difficult time in the United States. We were told there were certain parts of the country, well, I was stationed in Southern California. We were told there were certain places that we shouldn't go as a veteran. They'd recognized our short haircuts. And we were subject to to harassment and so forth. But yes, I think the veterans do need to be recognized.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, thank you, John. Seth Allen is next, and after Seth is Joseph Pasco.
Mayor Lewis, members of the council, good evening, and I'm delighted to be here. My name is Seth Allen, and I have much to contribute to the Bountiful City leadership team. I have bachelor's degrees in Spanish and in physics, and you might wonder why that matters. Well, physics is classical training in solving problems. That's what I told Oracle Corporation when they hired me to solve their customers' problems. They made me a specialist in marketing, social media, and training programs. Spanish, I speak Spanish fluently, and it's taken me all over the world. In fact, this jacket I bought during the World Cup in 2006 in Argentina when they were playing Germany. And I could have just walked out of the store with the jacket, not because I was tempted to do so, but because I had to wait for 20 minutes before they would stop looking at the television and sell me the jacket, because it was, oh, no, this is more important. I was involved in student government up at the University of Utah. I was editor-in-chief of the Century magazine, and I know what it's like to grow an organization of more than 80 people, 80 volunteers who need to make a great product. And I told my staff that if you focus on people, you'll have as a natural byproduct a great product. If you focus on the product, you may or may not do well, and your people may or may not be happy, but people are the key. My interests are in the city programs, in the parks and green spaces, in the streets, and in the recycling programs. We have a great city and we have great spaces, and I want to make sure that they stay wonderful. I'm interested in attracting and keeping profitable businesses in the small amount of space that we have. I'm interested in peace and safety. In fact, my car was broken into on the 28th of October, and my property was stolen. I think that there's a lot that the citizens can do to safeguard, and a lot of education can happen to help deter crime in the city. Now, why should you choose me? I'm a long-term resident of the area. I went to high school here. I bought my grandparents' house when my wife and I got married. My first job was here. I've worked for several small businesses in the area. When I was 8 years old was my first job, and my boss instilled in me the belief that if a job is worth doing, it's worth doing well. My current job and occupation is as a functional analyst for the Church of Jesus Christ. And what I do is they point me at a problem and they say, there, solve that. And so I try to figure out the best way to solve it and then give the coders and programmers, because I work in the tech arm, a clear and concise set of instructions that they'd like to follow. I like to think that I have an uncommon degree of common sense. I thought about starting a business called Just Ask Me First. And I have a deep and abiding love of Bountiful, the area and its citizens. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Joseph Pasco is next, and after Joseph is David Hill.
Hello, I'm Joseph Pasco. I grew up here in Bountiful. My parents grew up here in Bountiful, and my great-grandparents grew up here in Bountiful. I have an understanding of supply side economics. I'm a good listener and have a talent for understanding. I liked the meeting last week that was posted, and I appreciate that it's not being paid by citizens but is being privately funded. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph. Next up, David Hill, and after David is Alex Densley.
Mayor Lewis, Richard, John, Mark, Chris, Kendallin. My name is David Hill, and it's an honor to present my application to join the Bountiful City Council. I love this city. For 35 years, this has been the home for my family. For 35 years, we have been showered by the goodness, the kindness, the good examples from the people of Bountiful. And you, as the leaders of this beautiful city, play a big part in that spirit of goodness and kindness. And it is with a sincere heart that I thank you for your selfless service to our community. Now, in adding my service to yours, I do so to share a common purpose. Not to make things right or to fix things, but to meld my experience with yours. From a 4-decade career in finance to my experience as a father, a grandfather, a scoutmaster, a neighbor. Together we can keep the spirit of this wonderful community vibrant and strong. We can keep Bountiful a place where people can raise their children in safety and prosperity. As an investment manager and financial planner, I am paid to have an opinion. I'm paid to give advice based on many years of training and experience. As a fiduciary, I work to help my clients prosper and succeed, regardless of whether they agree with all of my advice. This is how I will work with you, my colleagues on the City Council. In my application, I summarized my qualifications to serve in 6 words. 6 words that define my life: hard head, soft heart, helping hands. I promise to have a hard head when it comes to protecting the widow's mite and the sacred funds of the City of Bountiful. I promise to have a soft heart when it comes to listening to Bountiful citizens, people who need someone to understand. And finally, helping hands. There are 6 more words I learned from my father in my high school and college years building houses together. Don't just stand there, do something. I promise to get involved, to jump in with both feet and hands, to help realize your vision and mine of continued prosperity and happiness in the City of Bountiful. It will be my pleasure to serve with you on the City Council. Thank you, and may God continue to bless our community.
Thank you, David. Alex Densley is next, and after Alex is Dave Wheeler.
Council, my name's Alex Densley. You guys probably know me because 2 years ago I ran for City Council, upon which obviously I'm not sitting up there, I'm down here. I first came into interest with the city 4 years ago. Fresh out of college, brand new degree. Where do I set up my family? Where do I live? Where do I go? We picked Bountiful and we stayed here in Bountiful. We picked a dilapidated house 3 years ago that the city had condemned the power to, had been empty for multiple years prior. And I started to get involved with the city, understanding building permits, learning electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and everything else that goes along with the dilapidated house. Yard work, city planning, commissions, all your permits and everything else that had to come into play with it. So how does this all come into play on why I believe I would be an assistant to the City Council and filling that slot next to the mayor right now? I believe that there are a couple of different things. One is my degree is in communications. I like to talk to people. I work with people. I'm sitting here in my work jacket right now. I work for an insurance carrier. I have to talk with people. I have to understand both sides of the argument. Because in my line of work, I can get 2 completely different stories as far as what happened. I have to have the difficult discussions with people of telling people no. I also have to have the difficult discussions of telling people I was wrong and that they were right. I believe that coming to the council, I provide an opportunity to provide my services as a jack of all trades, understanding a little bit about everything, but not being a master in everything or a know-it-all in any of the capacities. I also believe that because of my position of having to talk with people and listen to people and understand and gather facts, and sometimes having to dig a little bit deeper and going to experts outside well beyond my understanding, that it would be of a great service to not only the citizens here, but on the council as those topics come up and problems come before us. Finally, just like everyone else here, I love Bountiful. My family decided to move here, I live here, and we made it work here. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Next up is Dave Wheeler, and after Dave is Kathleen Anderson.
Thank you for this opportunity. A coworker of mine had a little Facebook thing where he added 14 years to your birth year, and the #1 song of that year is the song that defines who you are. So who I am is Let's Get Physical by Olivia Newton-John. I love this community. Bountiful is a well-run city. I applaud its fiscal diligence and responsibility. It's impressive for a city like Bountiful to stay within its means and even set aside funds for a rainy day. As Bountiful residents, we're lucky to have top-notch services. We have an excellent police force, wonderful parks, arts, and recreation options, and not to mention a wonderful streets department. My lifelong goal has been to have the snow cleared from my driveway before the street in front of my house. Even at 4 a.m. to this day, I have not been able to accomplish that. No one beats this city with its snow removal. Utah is experiencing rapid growth that will bring challenges to Bountiful. We need to plan for and address those issues now. We need to create effective means of transportation, both through transit and quality of our roads. We need to make sure we are not changing the quality of life by tearing down homes to put up high-density housing and risk decreasing the appeal of Bountiful. We need to be careful not to build too high up on the mountainside. There's a delicate balance between having affordable housing and maintaining a safe and family-friendly community. While not opposed to these projects, we do need to be careful that it accomplishes the goal of keeping Bountiful a wonderful place to live. That is why I have submitted my name for consideration. I want to keep Bountiful the same wonderful place where I raised my family. I want our community to be safe from violence. I want those who live here to feel they belong, no matter their beliefs or lifestyle choices. Every voice and every individual in this community matters. I also understand as Bountiful and Utah grow, our city leaders will need to be strategic in how we grow with the times and maintain the charismatic charm that is Bountiful. I truly believe Bountiful is one of the best run cities in the state, the current residents, but also desirable for the upcoming generation. Bountiful is a wonderful place and raise a family, and I want to do my part to keep it that way. And let me just add, after hearing everybody speak tonight, I know on your shoulder reality, anybody you choose is going to do a fantastic job. There's high quality people here, very well educated, very well qualified, and I just thank you for this opportunity I have to be here with you this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave and Kathleen.
I feel like I should tap dance or do something to stand out, but I'm the last one, so hopefully you'll remember me. As I looked at the history of the settlement of Bountiful, I saw that it said that most of the original founders were of English descent. I'm Irish, so I hope that you won't hold that against me. Perhaps a little diversity would be nice. When I first saw that there were 40 applicants for this open council position, I kind of initially thought of the Hunger Games. But then reason set in, and I realized instead how heartwarming it was to have 40 people who loved their community enough that they would be willing to step up to serve for a place they have chosen to raise their families, to live, and to call home. Home is where the heart is. And tonight for me has been an affirmation of the wonderfulness of humanity, especially if you spend any time on social media, where it's the antithesis of what I've seen in this room tonight. So no matter who is selected, I think it's a win-win for the council and for Bountiful as a whole to have so many tremendous people who have shown up tonight. And I feel like I have glimpsed a part of the souls and hearts of so many here today, and it has left me humbled to even be considered among this wonderful group. And I too am grateful to Mr. Bouwhuis for your service in the Air Force. My husband is also a veteran of the United States Air Force. He served for 25 years. He was an F-15 pilot. And one of the truest honors of my life is that he selected me to be his wife. I have cherished my roles as a wife and as a mother, and have I voluntarily left the workforce as I became a mother and dedicated my life to raising children who would grow up to be good citizens of this world, of this state, and of this community. And if nothing else, I hope that I have taught them the importance of kindness and integrity, and of listening, and of reserving judgment for people, and to try to always seek to understand first before they do anything else. That is who I am. I hope that my reputation precedes me with those of you who know me. Thank you for your consideration very much.
Thank you.
Mayor? Please, Clint.
That concludes our list of interested persons, as they're called in the Utah Code. I did want to bring to the council's attention that I was approached by one interested person who was not here when the name was called. I told him that there's nothing that I could do, but that I would give the council the opportunity to consider that. And if you would like to hear from that person, that you may. My only recommendation would be, if you do, that we also ask if any of those others whose names were called are here as well.
I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we hear from anyone that was interested party that their name got called, but they were not here, and so that we can consider them.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's proceed.
Okay, I'm just going to call the names. Will you vocalize if you are here? Joshua Holdstock. No Joshua Holdstock. Emily Maybe. No Emily Maybe. Nicholas Price. Okay, Tiffany Twitchell Smith. No Tiffany Twitchell Smith. So we've got one more, which is Nicholas Price. I will just also note that that will be a total of 36 interested persons that will have interviewed, which leaves the number at 6 for selections that you can make.
Thank you.
Mayor, back to you.
Thank you. So we'll hear from
Nick.
Mr. Price, please.
Got a little traffic. I was coming from Lehigh, so my apologies, and I appreciate a motion to be able to speak. I wanted to approach you all real quick and just thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
I got to go in this order.
That's okay. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you. I'm ready for a chance to serve. I feel that my experience in the public financial world and my 12 plus years in the fitness and recreation industry position me to be very successful in this role in the needs of our city. I'm fiscally conservative and will work to keep the budget balanced. Bountiful City has long been the largest supporter of the Bountiful Arts Center. I would like to use my extensive experience working for a nonprofit museum to work to get more citizens supporting the Bountiful Davis Arts Center instead of Bountiful being number one. I would like our citizens to be involved in that and them be number one. I would like to work to create, obviously, more hiking trails, a dog park, and try and keep up with the pickleball trend. That seems to be the hottest thing. I've been on a pickleball team in Farmington. They have some very nice courts. I think their courts outdo our courts, so we could probably step up that a little bit. I will also work to keep our property rights and that the taxes associated with those are fair and right. I think that's been a contest for several different people that I've spoken with, and I think we could use some efforts there. I'm well versed in public communication and will be able to use this skill to meet with and work with citizens of Bountiful to keep our city clean, safe, and financially viable. With my utmost confidence, I would ask for your vote tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Thank you, Nick.
And then can I just note, and this is the overly cautious lawyer here, so I'm just going to go ahead and I know that there was no ill intent here, but I just wanted to state for the record that Mr. Price provided envelopes to each of the council members and the mayor. I would suggest that those not be opened until after a selection has been made. Exactly.
I need to know.
So, out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to tell you not to open those, and that if it is anything other than a thank you note, that would be disclosed after the meeting. But for now, it would be unfair for the other candidates for you to consider any other information other than the applications in the 3 minutes.
Could I open candlins?
You can do whatever you want after the vote.
Hey, Clint, we will turn some time back to you now.
Yes. Okay.
So, Clint, one thing. All jokes aside, thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, you always keep us on track and in line. So
I try to.
And he put a lot of work into this, too. It wasn't just...
Okay, so that went really well. Really efficient. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, council. It is now time that we will do the selection. There is the opportunity, if the council wishes to have any discussion before we distribute the ballots or the tally sheets. Is there any discussion that the council wants to have?
I just want to thank you all. What an impressive group.
Amen.
You've made it so difficult, which is such a good problem to have, but thank you all. I wish that, I don't know, just thank you.
One other thing, may I? Please. If there was a way to earn yourself onto the council with service, I mean, there's a lot of people here who would be on the council. So I want to say thanks. Frankly, Bountiful's good because of so many people who are willing to serve quietly and without any spotlight. And many of you are here tonight, and thank you for making our city great. Sincerely.
John Martin, anything?
I feel humbled being before a group of applicants that are much more qualified to be on the council than me. So I feel safe in saying that even though 35 people are going to walk away disappointed tonight, that I'm encouraged that in the conviction and the love of Bountiful that you've all expressed, and I hope that you'll be able to help Bountiful in the areas that you expressed interest in. And I've talked to several people, and I told them that we're probably not going to select the most qualified candidate tonight, but we're going to select the most qualified candidate that can be able to step in and be efficient for this last year of Mrs. Holbrook's term. And so I thank you very much for applying.
Okay, I thought of one other thing.
Good.
Larry Livingston. If you touched other people through all these jobs the way you touched everybody in this room tonight, you can't call yourself not successful at what you've done. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Any short comment?
Being the youngest member of the city council, I reflected back on my time in election, and I'll tell you, every one of you could have beat me. I'm very humbled. And thank you all for your service and willing to step up and put yourself in a position to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Sorry, one last thing. I hope for those of you who aren't selected, you'll consider running next year.
Well said by someone who doesn't have to run next year.
Yeah, very well.
The declaration period is June 1st through 7th.
I do have just one thing to add. I told you all last meeting that I went to law school because I don't like math. 36 interested persons at 15% is rounded is 5. Does the council want us to bring it down to 5, or do you want to stay with 6?
6. I move that we move to 5.
I've got two people saying two different things. We got a motion.
I'll second the motion for 5.
Any further discussion? All in favor of 5?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. We're back to 5.
Nay.
Thank you.
Okay, so that, I'm just going to give Sean a minute. So I'm just going to go through really quickly what's going to happen now. You've got those sheets. Shauna is going to cross out the 6th choice, and she's going to have to allocate the points a little bit. So now first choice will receive 5 points. Second choice will receive 4 points. Third choice will receive 3 points. Fourth choice will receive 2 points, and fifth choice will receive 1 point. If you have any questions, ask me or Shauna, and we can clarify. She's going to distribute these to you in just a moment. The other thing that I would tell you is that during the 15-minute recess or approximate 15-minute recess, we will have the votes over here at council. Please don't come over and talk to us while we have the votes.
It will be our pleasure.
Thank you. If we have a question for you, we will come and talk to you, and we will do it here on the dais.
And if this meeting has been so easy, I want to see your ballot.
Did I say it was easy?
You said it went great.
It did go great.
No, it didn't. We just did a little math here on our calculators.
Okay, are you going to embarrass me?
Yeah. Well, it's 5.4.
Right, and we said, in the last meeting, we said we would round. You just want to round up, period?
15% inclusive of any
Look, I do math with my 4th grade daughter, and when we round down at 4.
So I'd like to make a motion that we rescind the last motion that passed.
Okay, that'll be fine. What we will have to do, though, is I will have to go and print off 4 of these. Yeah, but that has...
No, that doesn't work.
Why?
Doesn't work.
Because it has...
Well, you could just can't take out Mr. Eggett's name.
I promise we're not going to vote for people that weren't here.
Okay, we can just use that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back to 6.
All right.
We did it by motion the first time, so please do it by motion again.
I made the motion.
Second.
Come on.
I did. I made a motion that we rescind the last.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it'll be 6. So you actually have those. Those were provided as a sample as part of the packet. And if Shauna has any question on how you've marked your ballot, she'll just ask you while she's up there. If you do not vote for all 6, please cross out at the top. Let's say you voted for 3. Just cross out 4th, 5th, and 6th choice so that we know that you intended not to vote for those. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you. Now we'll take a rest until 9:30. So if you'll look at that right there at 9:30, if you'll please come back.
What I would say is, while you're filling out the ballots, the public is free to converse, but I want the council to be filling out those ballots in the public meeting, not when it's...
And we're not going to deliberate without...
No deliberation. That's why I don't want you guys over... Once we've received the tallies, we'll be over here by ourselves. We'll tally them.
Thank you. But you're welcome for...
So once we get the tallies, then we can officially go off the record, but...
And also no one from the public approaching the dais.
Correct.
Thanks.
Leave this one on, yeah. And Mayor, I'll just leave it to you to kind of monitor when it looks like everybody's ready. When the council's ready for Shauna to collect. It could be 1 minute for that part.
I'm deliberating with myself.
Each of you please say when you're ready, when you're done.
Looks like Councilmember Knight is ready. Looks like Councilmember Higginson is ready. Shauna's just going to go through it with you to confirm that she understands what you meant.
This might be tough.
Okay. Those are my choices. We did not. Is the vote the same? Never mind.
You know, that's the first time she's understood my intent without a 10-minute conversation and me having to explain it.
It's been gone for a while. The last meeting. She's catching on.
It's really true, John, Mark, that, and Richard, is that when you hear all of that, I sort of feel insufficient. There are a bunch of wonderful people, just kind of what you said, John, Mark.
In fact, we should just replace all of this.
Are you ready, Councilmember Simonson? Yeah, go.
It's been a very good process, though. Not as late as I thought it would be either, at least so far. That was pretty efficient. You know, we got together this afternoon about 4 with Clint and Shauna and Gary and I. Just kind of went through the process to see if we could, you know, the calling out of the name and then another name, and not having some of that time.
Yeah.
That time that can be, if you're in the middle of the row, and I mean, it's amazing how you're doing that 35 times. It doesn't take very,
absolutely, to add a
take
bunch
very
of
long
time.
to add a bunch of time to it. So
yeah, no, I couldn't be more complimentary of the people who, first of all, emailing them first, and then getting the printed copies like this.
Book, I was like,
awesome.
Are you serious? That's first class, top shelf.
Yeah.
Even reading them, I was impressed. I mean, you read those things, you're like, oh my gosh.
Exactly. Chris, did you open your envelope?
Yes. $50 bill. You really can't even kid about that, though. They'll read your lips. Seriously.
Okay, Mayor, we have all of the tally sheets from the council. I think we're only going to need about 5 minutes if the council would like to take about a 5-minute recess. An actual recess.
Do we need to take a recess?
Or you can just stay there. We'll have it pretty quickly.
Oh, you're still ready?
We're almost ready.
Okay.
Just
When
need a
you're
couple
ready,
more
then we'll
minutes.
just have everybody come in.
Okay. Is that one knee? What position were you talking about? Overwatch. I'm sorry, I thought it were. That's what I'm going to be ready to head for that door.
Yeah, it's not.
It needs to be. Really? Awesome.
Don't do that. Do not do that. That's not a good thing to do. He's got his hat on. That's not just the public. The public puts together.
The same one.
Sorry.
That's it.
Then
But
you really minimize your voice of what other choices could have been.
I think it maximizes my voice. I think.
But,
Maybe.
but,
Unless that person doesn't win.
yeah, then you could give someone else more, someone else's life also.
Indeed. And by the way,
I kind of thought I talked to Rhonda Perks a couple of weeks ago. It sounded like she was going to put her hand. Either that or she took it.
That would have just been one more person that's more qualified.
She would have taken.
Pretty cool.
She may have taken an application, but I kind of thought she was going to do it. Hey, so do you have any? Are there any more of your little red bears? Your little cinnamon bear? Can I have a couple? Here. Oh, no, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
yeah, take those bowls home with you if you would.
I mean, everything you can.
Does this need to be on?
Huh?
Does this need to be on?
It's okay.
Did you vote for her?
Yeah,
Anywhere?
Once we press that bar, I think we're about done.
10:25.
You could get out there in 30 minutes.
see.
You can get out there in 30 minutes.
I'll make a motion right now.
Hey, as soon as we see, this could be 5 minutes from now, honestly.
Aren't you?
Okay, Mayor, we're ready whenever you are.
Good, it looks like we have everyone assembled. Is there anyone out there? If anyone's out in the hallways, please reassemble.
Not my job.
I'm happy I live in Bountiful. You folks are absolutely incredible. All right.
Okay, so we have the vote tally. We're going to go ahead and present it. I will tell you that there was a tie, and as indicated in our packets that we delivered to both the council and all interested persons, if there was a tie in that 6th position, we would add whoever was also a tie. So there are 7 finalists. Just a reminder for the public before we show it, the council is free to make a motion at any time. The vacancy will be filled by motion and a roll call vote. We do that in a random order. I believe Councilmember Simonson was the last person to start, so it'll be Councilmember Harris. This time, if there's only one vote, if there's more than one vote, we'll move along to Councilmember Higginson and so forth. As far as procedure goes, it's by motion. There's a second. There can be discussion. There doesn't need to be, and then there will be a vote. If it is 3 ayes, then the motion prevails and we have a new council member. If there are 3 nays, then the motion fails and there needs to be another motion. And if there are 2 ayes and 2 nays, the mayor is the tiebreaker.
Well, let's not do that.
If for any reason there is a substitute motion, it would require the consent of the original motion maker for that substitute motion to prevail. Hopefully we don't get into that. And so with that, we'll go ahead and present. I made it a PDF so that it would be.
Mr. Mayor, before we show the, well, okay, here's our results. I'd like to make a motion that we hear from all the finalists, 1 minute from each of them.
I would like to second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think I heard ayes from the audience.
You did. Yeah.
Do you want to go in order of those points, or?
Well, let me just make clear that I didn't hear the vote.
Oh.
There's 2.
Let's do a roll call.
Yeah. Roll call vote starting with Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Councilmember Higginson.
Already?
This is just on the vote to whether or not you're going to hear from for a minute.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Aye.
Councilmember Knight.
Aye.
Councilmember Simonson.
Aye.
Okay. We had indicated in the packet that we would draw names randomly and provide that. Is there any other way you want to present it, or would you like us to draw the names?
Draw the names.
Okay. We're just going to have to write them really quick, otherwise we're going to have to sift them out of this.
You have to empty that.
I'm going to do this. Put them in.
Miranda, we're prepared for the 1 minute. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. I need 1 minute.
You started the clock on the city attorney, right?
Okay.
Okay, they have put in. She's going to randomly draw them and I'll write them.
Tiffany.
Go ahead and name them all right now so we can just.
Beth. Richard. Can't read my own writing. Elaine. Bret. Kate. And Millie. So Tiffany's first and then Beth.
It is an honor to be here. One of Bountiful's greatest strengths is how we connect and how we know each other. Continuing to build and maintain this connectivity as we grow will be key during the time that I would serve on the City Council. I do believe in the greatness of Bountiful and in the greatness of its citizens, and I applaud you and what you have done to make the city what it is, and all those that have been here for generations before, because it really is a great place, and I'm so grateful just to be here. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany. Beth, and then Richard.
I'm thankful to be on this list. I hope it's not just because of my name, replacing Beth, but this has been a remarkable night. I think hearing these incredible people here tonight, it gives me such hope and joy that I live in Bountiful. I was just saying, if I didn't live in Bountiful already, I would move to Bountiful after being here tonight. This is a place that I love. This is a place that my family loves. This is a place that I'm fully invested in giving my all to serve the people that are here and serve this community. I think there's so much greatness going into the future here. I love what we have. I love the tradition of Bountiful. I look forward to the future, and I hope for the chance to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Richard next, and then Elaine.
I too want to thank you. I'm a little humbled that you actually picked my name, so thank you. I just want to say I've learned a lot from every single one of you on the council and from the staff members as well. And I also learned a lot when I first was called to the Bountiful Community Service Council. Beth Holbrook was the one that appointed me to that, and we had a lot of discussions about how to do that. So she was a great influence as well. But I'll continue, whether or not I'll continue to serve Bountiful as I am. I wear a lot of hats, as you know, but I'm willing to do even one more hat. So thank you. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Richard. Elaine is next, and then Bret Hutchings.
Thank you for the time that you've taken tonight to listen to us, and I'm so grateful for the people that have put their names forward and for the time here. And I'm committed to working with you and listening and being a part of the council and for the opportunity to live in Bountiful. It's a great place to live, and I've lived all over the world, in Hong Kong, Los Angeles, all over the Netherlands, and Bountiful is where home is, and we're grateful to be here, and I'm dedicated, and thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you, Elaine. Brad is next, and then Kate.
The pressure is really on because my wife said we're probably not running again. So when I heard about this, I was pretty excited because I didn't have to run to have the opportunity. So I've got a year to help her forget, like having a baby, how miserable it can be. I think of the kind of council member that I would like to be, and it reminds me of my grandfather-in-law that ran Bountiful Power for a while. There's a couple statements that I wasn't really old enough to remember, but my dad passed them on. He said, if you don't have any of your employees or people that you work with or are responsible for upset at you, you're probably not doing your job. I hope I haven't taken that too far at times. And anyway, appreciate the consideration. Thanks.
Thank you, Brett. Kate, and then Millie.
When I was growing up here in Bountiful, there was a day I decided to cut class and then join my buddies at CarMax for a donut. And later that day, I got home and my parents had been informed of my cutting class and spending time at CarMax with that donut. And I remember thinking, man, this town is too small and I got to get out of here. And I lived other places and I went to school other places and I saw their communities. And 6 years ago, my husband and I chose to return to build our home here because with adult eyes, I could see the value of being part of a community that notices those things. And it's part of being that village that raises kids. My husband is a teacher at Beaumont High School, which is a little hard for this former Brave. But we want to continue to be part of this community, to give back to this community and be part of a place that helps people be where they ought to be. Thank you.
Okay, Millie.
When all of those names flashed up, truly my first reaction was, oh good, that's a wonderful list. There were outstanding people here, but I'm honored to be with all of these people. I've truly fallen in love with Bountiful. I did not grow up here. I'm married. I affectionately call my husband a super senior because he is such a Bountiful high school fan. And I truly love it here. It has truly become my village. I'm in a position in my life where I am able to dedicate some of my time and serve. And if given that opportunity, I will give it my all. But I truly don't think you could go wrong with anyone on this list. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Millie.
Thank you all for staying right on time, all of you, all night long. We really appreciate it. We didn't hear that buzzer go off only 4 or 5 times and only for a few seconds. Everybody really paid attention.
Where were y'all the past 2 years? This is the nicest council meeting I think I've ever attended.
Oh my gosh, it feels so good. It really does. We all were just saying how good it feels in this room to have so many people that care about Bountiful, and thank you very much. So I will look for a motion from the council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to make a motion that we appoint Kate Bradshaw to fill Beth Holbrook's vacant seat for the remainder of Beth's term.
And I will look for a second.
I'd like to second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Good. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
So it's going to be a roll call vote.
Oh, excuse me. Yep.
And I think, Kendall, and you were last, right? So Councilmember Higginson.
Aye.
Councilmember Knight.
Aye.
Councilmember Simonson.
Aye.
Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Our new city council person is Kate Bradshaw. Kate, why don't you just come up? I'm not going to have you sit here yet because you're not official till next Tuesday. But boy, we appreciate. We look so forward to serving with you. I can't imagine how fun it's going to be for all of us to have you on the council and being part of this wonderful city council.
I'd like to hear from Kate again. Kate?
Tell us that it wasn't just one time you slugged class.
Has the statute of limitations run on those transgressions? Thank you. I'm honored and humbled to be selected. I pledge to do my very best, particularly to all of you, my fellow applicants, who were really stellar individuals. I was excited. Some of you I already knew. Many of you I look forward to getting to know.
Kate, will you introduce your support group? Introduce your support group.
Sure. So first of all, my husband, Michael O'Connor, who I referenced as the teacher from Beaumont High. He's been on this adventure.
Please stand, just so that we can see who you are. Thank you.
He's been on this, life adventure with me for the last 15 years, and And then I've got my parents, Dan and Holly Bradshaw, who we live just around the corner from them, and we enjoy that. It's handy, you know, when you need soy sauce and find that you've ordered sushi and don't have any. Mom always comes in handy, and she's just a few houses down. So thank you for being here.
A lot of service with the Rotary. Thank you, Dan.
Do you want me to continue my list of times I went to CarMax when I was a
No, we just,
The dice is yours.
hey, we're just so pleased to have you here, and we'll look forward to next Tuesday.
Thank you.
To have you sworn in and have a spot here with your name, and we'll get to work. I think you all expect us to get to work, get some things done, some good things.
Indeed.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, with a sincere and heartfelt thanks for all of the folks that were here tonight and presented to us and applied for this position, and a nod towards Thanksgiving and a happy one to all, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That'll do it. Thanks again. Drive safely. Have a great Thanksgiving. Be careful wherever you drive tomorrow.